Oh, finally attacking somebody with a riposte. They just don't... I mean, now that that somebody is seriously injured. Can you... That's just remove stress. Yes. Ooh, combo there. Oh yeah, this is pretty good. Miss, but still... This only on hit, of course. Of course it's only on hit. And now there's horror. Yeah, horror for everyone. Well, that's what this is here for.
The pulse slows. Sanity returns.
Little bit of healing. Of course. Is there any go into stealth mode? No. Of course, a dodge.
Steady yourself.
I was not expecting a critical, must say. And now you're vulnerable. And now he's weak, because you shouted at him. Defend him. Okay, resisted the sightless miasma. This is the last charge of this.
A little help,
I think.
timed.
But we're making no progress in this battle.
Steady yourself.
Those 8 to 6, I thought I had 50% damage reduction, not 25. You can heal your own self with a critical, for that matter.
Has been tended to.
That was pretty sweet. Let's attack you. We're weak, so we can't do much. Okay. The Carobs are really nasty, but just because they, you know, they blind us into all sorts of bad things, they don't tend to do much damage, so they're scarier than they, or they're less scary than they look. So I think I don't know, I don't think I'm doing a wrong thing by focusing on the main, on these two. But I might be. Let's see what happens here. Resisted. Oh, you resist the debuff.
Mistimed. Misdirected.
They do horrors and all that other things, yeah. They're definitely... They remind me of the undead. There was this one undead character at the back line, the very back line of a lot of builds in the first game in the dungeons. That threw a cup of goop at you, and that thing was terrible. I hated it. Envious.
Each covets what the other has, and plots to take it.
Ooh. Look at our survival there. Right there. Death Store on both of them. Just how I like it. Do we have multiple uses of the bandages? I think we might. Rolling those Death Doors. Oh, that's a Death Door. And...
A setback.
Wow. Just a setback, yeah. Yeah, I don't have the multiple uses.
A righteous action.
Meltdown. Hope has forsaken me. Yes. Yes, it has. We're just not dying, it seems. No, we are dying.
Find peace.
We are absolutely dying.
A slow dissection.
For a moment there, I thought, can you not die in these encounters? Because I would like that. I would like the encounters where you run out of light I would like them to be impossible to die at. That would be a good thing in the world, in the game, in our Let's Play.
A setback, nothing more.
I mean, Dismas, I was gonna say he just doesn't want to die, but he does. It's a setback, nothing more. That's a kill up the front. Now a blind. Oh no, it isn't a kill at the front. Oh. You have to kill the corpses. Yeah. Brisk bedevilment on the corpse. And more brisk bedevilment on Celsius. Oh, I should have used... Oh, I missed. Oh, nice.
Variable can make all the difference.
Brisk bedevilment, yeah. We should be able to... No, we are not going to be able to survive. I just saw that they have 23 health. And I cannot use most of my abilities. At least I can attack them. Ish.
Steady yourself. And now, the greatest test of all.
Yeah. Death's Door.
A setback, nothing more.
Indeed it is. Nothing more. Nothing more. She's gonna be such a champ if she doesn't die. Okay, that one is potentially dead. Ah, okay.
Let us hope they find peace. The Odyssey strengthens you.
Does it?
Are you shaken? There is so much worse in store. Learn from each attempt. Deepen your understanding, and victory will come.
Worst is a relative thing. I mean, it's literally a relative adjective, but I could have died a lot sooner. That would be worse, yeah. So there is much worse in store. What exactly did I achieve though? Cholera. That's not good. Wait. We move again? We move again.
While the flame still burns, hope remains. The house on the borderlands, half swallowed by the stain. The shackles of denial must be destroyed.
How? What?
The crossroads, where lost souls hope to find their way.
Oh, it was just game over. What are the rewards that I got? What the hell was that for? I didn't get anything. Huh. Well.
Pride. More devastating than the horrors of 100 campaigns.
We know what to do.
The road is yours to travel, but you are not alone.
So yeah, basically it's game over. We got a game over, but it didn't look like a game over. What a weird thing. So that might explain why there's no give up button. For one, it doesn't make sense with the setting, or with the notion that you go into a village with a thing. There's no give up because you'd need to come back and the flame would extinguish. So it's either forward or death. And for us, it's death. But yeah, it's probably that's probably the reason why there's no give up button. The lack of give up button reshapes the game completely, though. I'm just gonna say it. It's too difficult. The game is too difficult, and it doesn't play like the original. At least not at first. In the sense that in the original, it was a war of attrition all the time. In the overall campaign, you were just sending people into a dungeon to die. They could die, or to just be traumatized, or get all the bad quirks, or you spent more money than you actually earned. That happened a lot. So it was a war of attrition. You know, mission after mission after mission. And this one, I spent 2 hours in the same mission, and then died. So it feels like an old school kind of design, which is, I mean, I'm all for old school, but it just doesn't play like the original one. Because what this feels like is especially because we choose the mission types that we have. I think we're supposed to, you know, because this is the first one, the number 1 demise or whatever, or disguise or whatever it was called. I think we're just supposed to try over and over again until we succeed after you know, get better. And that's more of a old school kind of design, a more roguelite sort of focused design. Still, I don't think that's the biggest problem with the game. The biggest problem with the game are 2 things. First off, the enemies have way too much health. They should not have that much health. And the reason why they shouldn't is because killing enemies fast gives you tactical decisions to make. And we lost stun, which is okay. I'm okay with losing stun. We have extra abilities to use, which is fine. It adds more tactical depth to the game. But the loss of stun and these abilities are not actually how I mean, I wouldn't like them. I really would like the Plague Doctor to have the ability where you can blight both enemies at the back. That's a really good ability that I like to rely on, because it sort of backloads most of the damage at the back line, and I like that, and just it allows me to focus on surviving the front line instead. But either way, that's just a tactical thing that I like doing. The fact that the enemies have so much health, which is compensated with the fact that we have so much health, really does diminish the tactical depth of the game, and it's something that I do not think works in the game's favor in any way, really. That's one of the problems that I see. The other problem is that controlling the wagon is pants. It's terrible. It takes your eyes away from the lovely landscape that you should be looking at, and it puts it on the road and the same items over and over again. It's always the same items, and instead of making you do what the first game did, which is actually focus on what you're going through. That was a brilliant piece of design in the first game. You just pressed right or pressed left depending on where you were going, and you actually looked at the level that you were going through. It was a 2D level. Oh well, it had a little bit of a parallax effect, but it was a 2D level of a linear dungeon, but it still forced you to look at what you were doing and look at the backgrounds and all that, especially for a new player. It's incredible. It is incredible design. Obviously, for experienced players, you just know already what you're gonna do, and as soon as you see a certain item or a certain thing that you already know how to interact with, you just sort of, you know exactly what to do. And but what would happen a lot of the time for new players is you would miss objects in the background, or you would maybe even see them because your characters themselves would see the objects and just eat them. So yeah, there's some interesting ideas, but they really need to. They need to learn with why mobile ripoffs of Darkest Dungeon are bad. Go and play any mobile ripoff of Darkest Dungeon, and you'll see immediately why they're bad. They're bad because of the microtransactions that those games have, but they're also bad because of the way those microtransactions affect the mobile ripoffs of Darkest Dungeon. The first game is snappy. It's fast. You can make decisions and see them happen fast. In the sense that it's very different to attack the first person in the enemy lineup, or to stun 3 people in a row, for example, and just get a debuff for your character. Those are very different skills. And here, the differences are not that many. In fact, we mostly played in this particular team. We mostly played with: do we want to do blight or do we want to do damage? There's other things I like. I really do like Dismas Protect, but yeah, it wasn't good. The lack of healing also, I didn't like that particularly much, but I think it makes sense with the way that the game is balanced. But yeah, those are my thoughts on Darkest Dungeon 2. It's early access, so let's see what happens. And I didn't even talk about how I really, really do not like the 3D. Because 2D animations always feel polished and lovely and great. 3D animations like these, they take a lot of time and effort to make. They take longer and take more effort to make than 2D animations do. Make no mistake about that. But they look cheap. If the game looks cheap, it looks the art direction is great, but the graphics themselves are just stands out as just. I didn't even like that. That's not even a problem. I am very surprised about that, honestly, because I thought that was going to be my only problem, but no, it is not. So yeah, changes to the mission style, those are easy to make. If they want to make the first mission shorter, if they want to make you have to swap out characters more often or be able to swap out characters at all, that's cool. If they want to make things like your debuffs from your negative relationships be less dangerous, all that stuff that's easy to change. And it's a matter like Red Hook, the company that makes this, they did go through a lot of iteration in the first game. And if you followed the early access, which I did, you see a lot of rapid changes. Like, this is the very first day the game is out. I'm playing the game on the very first day. I did the same for the first Darkest Dungeon as well, and I played it. I played it extensively. I played it a lot. But the reason why I played the first game a lot is because that repetition was addictive as hell. The fact that you could just go, like, the game. First off, the combat just felt awesome. This combat doesn't feel as good as the first game. It's the animations. They talk too much, but they don't always the fuck out of me. Honestly, just shut up. Let me skip your animations. I don't think you can, actually. That is a problem. They need to get on that pretty fast. Also, the interface is a little bit cluttered, and I'm not sure why. It is there's a lot of new ideas in this interface, so making it less cluttered is probably going to be a problem. But like, I played the hell out of the first game. So much on the first build. I think I played like the very first weekend that the first game came out. I think it was like, I remember saying how much I played. I don't know how much, but it was like, imagine just playing all day, basically Saturday and Sunday. That's what I did, and just played a lot. And I played a lot through the week after that. And then, like a week after the first game came out, they introduced a patch where when you stun a character, you actually built. Oh no, the first patch, I don't remember if it was the stun patch. I don't think it was. I think the first patch was about you being able to cheese battles. So what happened in the very first version of the early access of the first game is that you could just defend against enemies and heal your party up to maximum health, and then kill the last enemy. So, like, kill most of the enemies, just leave one remaining that wouldn't do much damage, and just have your healers healing everything, and then you would exit every battle with no stress and fully healed. As soon as you realize that, basically the game was trivial. And this was the very first version of the game, and it only lasted for like a week. They patched it, and the way they did it was I think it remains until the final versions of the game, which is basically every 5 turns. Yeah, that bit remains. So basically, every 5 turns, you take a bunch of stress, and that's it. I think that's what remains. There's another thing is that if you spend 2 turns without attacking, or without attacking more than one character, you also take stress. So there's a few mechanics that they added to prevent you from cheesing stuff. The stun was also very powerful. There was a patch like 1 month or something or maybe a little bit more into the game, where it used to be that you'd be able to stun lock everything. If you could have a barbarian, for example, barbarian was added later on in the patches. But imagine you had a barbarian with a shout, stunning the 2 people in the front, and you had a plague doctor in the back, stunning the 2 people in the back. The enemies would never attack. You just stun them, and that was it. But then what they did is that every time you stun an enemy, they gain stun resistance. And obviously there are some enemies that are already stun resistant, but still, yeah, They went through a lot of iterations in the first game, but the combat itself always felt super engaging. It always felt like it's always a blast playing Darkest Dungeon. And the thing that for me loses loses interest in Darkest Dungeon 1 after playing it for hundreds of hours is the long run. It's basically like I play for 2 hours and I'm good. I'm satisfied. I don't really care so much about the upgrades and all that sort of stuff. I know what's coming, and that's the thing. Like, if you don't know what's coming, then you're interested in, oh, what's coming next and all that. But since I know what's coming, and I know how terribly hard it is as well, the first game I just play for a little bit, and that's fine. But the combat itself just feels very, very rewarding. I always like it. It's because you can just make a plan in your head about what's going to happen, and you know, if you know your abilities, and you chose your abilities as well, but if you know your abilities, you can make a plan in your head and just gonna say, I'm gonna stun this guy, I'm gonna move this guy to the back, I'm gonna apply bleed here, I'm gonna apply blight there, do damage here, buffs and all that sort of stuff, and it just feels good. It's quick and snappy. That is so crucial for it to be quick and snappy. I remember looking up Darkest Dungeon pretty early on I think Darkest Dungeon wasn't out yet when I did that. I looked up a Darkest Dungeon mobile game, and I found something that looked vaguely like Darkest Dungeon, but I didn't really care that it looked like Darkest Dungeon. I cared that it played like Darkest Dungeon. And it's just, the first fight is just click, 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 and the enemies have so much health. And the reason for that is because mobile games are made for you to just waste your time, which is bad. Games shouldn't waste your time. Games should enrich your time, because you're spending time playing them, so they should enrich your life. But mobile games are not like that, because you play them at the toilet, so you can't be thinking too much about stuff, or you play them when you're in the train or something, so it's different. Mobile games are different. And also, the more time they waste, the more money they can steal from you in microtransactions, so that's a thing. Anyway, I installed that pretty fast, and mobile games, it's bad. So, yeah, but the problem is just the bloated health just smells of, it just ruins everything. Just ruins everything, absolutely, slowing the fights down, and they take forever. One thing's for sure, I know these people are capable of iterating and making the game better. The final version of Darkest Dungeon is incredible. The expansions made the game better. It's an amazing game. You should go and get it. And if you want to wait for a sale, it usually goes on sale for like $5, and it's just an amazing value. It's honestly, like, I pre-ordered the Steam Deck because of Darkest Dungeon. I want to play Darkest Dungeon on the go. That's like Darkest Dungeon and Battle Brothers. Those are the sort of games that are just really fun, just on a repetitive kind of playing style. It's just you play them over and over again just to go back to them, and it's just, they're great games. And this one does not feel like that.
You came here seeking solace, but found stagnation instead.
I don't even know Solace. Never met him.
An inkling of potency still lingers in some of these well-worn relics.
It's something, at least. It is something.
Despite our differences in age and position, we share a keen fascination for archaeology, folklore, and of course, occultism.
But of course. I'm getting the hang of the wild controls of this. Oh, I think we're gonna be fine.
You must be strong enough to shoulder more than your share of the burden.
And it's all the same. I'm still gonna go with Audrey over here. I don't think it matters.
Abandoned or forgotten, it is ours now.
They just give us crap. Moldy food. Unfortunately, slowing down doesn't actually make your cart turn any faster, which you'd think would be the case. I realize this isn't a car, but still, you'd think it would be the case. I don't think we're getting anything out of the junk in this area, though.
The point of no return welcomes you with open arms. Each gravestone is more than a failure. It is a promise to do better.
Stop. Because we have items. We have bleed resist, which I am gonna give to Dismas. Bleed resist of 40, 30. I'm gonna give to whoever has the least, and that would be one of them. Anybody but Dismas. And then we have disease resist. I'm gonna give it to Audrey here. And I don't think I can do anything with combat skills. No, I can. So, I think these are the charges that I have. We got Holy Water. One target. Applies a negative token if it's been combos. No. If the target has a negative combo, or has a negative token, or... Oh, so this is a thing to remove negative tokens from your own characters. And this is to remove stealth from enemy characters. Sure. Sure. Now that I know that these things don't use an action, that's actually pretty good.